Joyful, joyful Lord. Oh, yes. How we doing, everybody? Yes, this is our new topic here. We talk about the Middle Ages, or really, this is just right at the beginning of the Middle Ages, what life was like. And so here you go. Check out this question here for you to kind of focus on as we go through this. What was it really like to live in the Middle Ages? And let's back up just a little bit, back to Rome. If you remember that the fall of Rome happened, it divided between the East and the West, and we talked about the Byzantine Empire and Constantinople and how everything happened over there. And now we're back, like I told you, we're back in the West. We're going to see what happens to the West as it fell into, sometimes it's called the Dark Ages. But all right, let's get right with it and get into this. We'll be looking at some missionaries, monks. Yes, 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 yes. Let's have some fun getting into this. I think you'll enjoy it, learning about the Middle Ages as soon as we get this up and running. And here we go. All right, so here we go. Let's skip that part and go straight to our first question. All right, what was the impact of Christianity spreading to, now Christianity was in the South, now it's going to go to the North. All right, we're spreading to, come on, Cap, there you go, Northern Europe. So here we go. As the Roman Empire fell, various groups from the, I just told you one direction, north and the, not north, not south, not west, but east, all right, moved into former Roman lands. As they moved in, these groups created their own, all right, it's like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, they are all called states. That's another way to say a country, okay? The rulers of these states, usually powerful, these people who take over because they have strong armies, we call them warlords, began to call themselves, hey, look, I'm not a warlord anymore, I am a king, yes. These kings often fought among themselves. So these small kingdoms started fighting each other. As a result, by the early, we are, guess where we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we are at the 500s. This is after Jesus. Europe was divided into many small kingdoms, little tiny kingdoms with a few people in it, not really big. All right, the creation of these kingdoms marked the beginning of the, it's our title, the Middle Ages, yes. A period that lasted from the 500 to about 1500. We call this time, again, the Middle Ages, because it falls in between the ancient times and today's modern times. Another name for the Middle Ages is medieval times, just like the dinner theater. You can go all over the country. There's this restaurant called Medieval Times, and I will share that with you when this is over. From the Latin words for Middle Ages. All right. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, many of the kingdoms of Northern Europe were not, all right, they were not, what's that word right there? It's not that religion. They were not Christians. All right, and we're going to try to solve that. All right, Christianity was only common in places that had been part of the Roman Empire, such as Italy and Spain. As time passed, however, Christianity slowly spread farther. Which direction? Which direction? North. All right, the spread was largely through the efforts of two different groups of Christians. The first, some of you may have done this or will do it one day, missionaries. There you go. Oh, I think I spelled that wrong. Missionaries, all right. And these group of people called monks. Okay, so let's talk about the missionaries first. What was the job of missionaries? Perhaps the most powerful person to help spread Christianity into Northern Europe was an individual. Who's in charge of the Catholic Church? That's right, guys, the Pope. So over the years, many popes sent missionaries to, all right, this is what they're trying to change them to. So the word to change somebody to your religion is called convert. All right, to convert people in northern kingdoms to Christianity. Missionaries are people who try to, let's use that word again, convert others to a particular religion. That's right. Some missionaries traveled great distances to spread Christianity to new lands. One of the first places to which popes sent missionaries it's an island nation or an island place, an island right above Europe, Britain. That's right. These missionaries traveled all over what geographic feature is England or Britain? It's an island. And eventually most people in Britain became Christians. All right, from Britain, other missionaries carried Christianity into what are now, France, and what's the country that's east of France? Germany. That's right. In fact, one of the first missionaries to travel to Northern Europe his name is Patrick. I've ever heard of St. Patrick's Day, who took it upon himself and not the Pope to teach people about Christianity. In the mid-400s, Patrick, later he'll be called St. Patrick, traveled from Britain to, where'd he go? Hey, where are they? Where are they? Ireland. I went to Ireland to convert the people there. Unlike most missionaries, Patrick traveled alone. Although he faced resistance to his teachings, he eventually converted what people live in Ireland, the Irish people to Christianity. Very good. All right. The next group of people it's real important to spread Christianity or spread the Catholic teachings will be the monks. So what does a monk do? While missionaries travel to spread Christian teachings, men called monks were equally dedicated to their faith. Monks were religious, not women, so they're just men. We have nuns that are women. So are religious men who lived apart from society in isolated communities. They're all alone. In these communities, monks spent their time in prayer, working, and meditation. Communities of monks, these are monks living together, were called monasteries, were built all over Europe. There's some very beautiful monasteries in Europe today, and they were built in the Middle Ages. Life in a monastery was strictly organized, had a lot of rules. The monks had to follow the rules, that were intended to help them live as good Christians. These rules outline the day-to-day affairs of the monastery, including how they dress and what they should eat. Most European monasteries followed a set of rules created in the early 600s by an Italian monk named Benedict. His code was called the Benedictine Rule, and those who followed it were called Benedictine monks. But not all monks in Europe were Benedictines. Different groups of monks created their own rules. For example, monks in Ireland were very different from monks in France or Germany. Even though they lived apart from society, monks had a big influence on the continent of Europe. Monks performed many services, both inside and outside of monasteries. Monasteries sometimes provided basic services such as healthcare. They were like doctors that were unavailable to many members of their communities. The poor and needy would arrive at a monastery. The monks would give them aid or help. In addition to giving aid to people in their communities, monks ran the schools, and copied books for those who couldn't read and write. They collected many ancient writings from Greece and Rome. Monks also served as scribes or professional writers and advisors to local rulers. Monks also helped Christian teachings into new areas. So they helped spread Christian teachings into new areas. Many monasteries were built in remote locations where Christians had never traveled before. People living near the monasteries learned